I spent an entire year reading all the self-help books and basically reinvented myself. And so today I want to share with you guys all the things I've learned and what has actually helped me. Now, I used to think these books were kind of like scams, that they were selling you a lie about some sort of fake dream life that was not attainable for someone like you and me. But at the time, I didn't really care because I was pretty desperate. Despite the fluff, there was a lot of very valuable things and lessons that I've learned that have allowed me to regain control of my life. So if you're struggling in life right now, I'd like to share some of these things that I've learned with you. The first book we have to talk about is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We have to start with this one because it's a classic of classics. It's the basic self-improvement, self-help book that you'll see everywhere and everyone talk about. Initially, I was pretty skeptical about this book because many of the words in this book are kind of weird, but I kind of tried to bypass that and pretend as if I knew nothing about anything and just come at it with a clean slate. Really, it's not so much of a practical book, it's more of a mindset book. You think and therefore you become, and it doesn't mean that in a literal sense. It means your mindset and your perspectives on success, fulfillment, happiness, and the future and all that stuff is what's actually the problem, not you. For example, if you walk around thinking the world is a terrible place and you'll never accomplish anything in life, that will be your actual reality. But if you understand the world is a place of abundance and we can get anything we want if we put our mind to it, then that will actually be your reality. And we're only really limited by our own mindset and desires of what we want and how we think we can achieve it. A good quote that helps show this is, "A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition." So if you're having trouble in life right now, understand that it is in your control. You can pick and choose where you want to go, and if you want anything badly enough, you can figure it out. Google the steps, make the plan, do the thing. And if you don't think you can do it, well, that will be your reality. So Think and Grow Rich was a great first step on my journey, but it didn't really give me what I wanted. I was already committed to this photography and YouTube thing for the long term, and so it wasn't a matter of self-belief that I needed in my life, rather I needed something more useful, practical, and tangible to apply. And this led me to the next book, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I found this in my local used bookstore for $1, and so I was like, oh, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. In this book, Covey teaches us something extremely useful called the Eisenhower Matrix. To break it down, there are 4 types of tasks. There are important and unimportant tasks, and there are urgent and non-urgent tasks. And it's oftentimes we mix up urgency and importance, and so things with close deadlines that don't actually matter, aren't actually that important, we start to prioritize, and that actually wastes our time in the long run. So the most important quadrant is this what's called Quadrant 2, or important non-urgent tasks. This would be like an essay or a project that's coming up that's due in 2 weeks. It's coming, it's important, but it's not yet urgent. If we can spend most of our time working on these types of tasks, then we can actually have the best work-life balance. And this is because most of our stress in life comes from procrastinating and not actually working on tasks until they're urgent. But if we can learn to take care of them ahead of time, less stress will actually be and the more productive we'll actually be because we're finishing things way ahead of time and we're not getting stressed out by these overwhelming feelings of too much stuff to do. And what this really means in a sense is that we have to learn to be able to say no. The more we can say no, the more we can do the things that actually matter. If we can say no to all these unimportant tasks, we can save ourselves so much time, effort, and energy. Covey says the enemy of the best is often the good. So what this book really taught me was how to prioritize my life. No longer was I editing every photo or working on every video trying to make it work. Instead, I could focus on the few important photos that I wanted to release as prints and the few videos that were interesting to me or fun to make. I started by making lists, classifying the different tasks I had, and crossing a bunch of them off. If you look at my weekly planners from even half a year ago, they were a total mess. I'd written down everything I could possibly do and somehow decided that I was going to do all of it. And you can probably imagine how that went. Not so well. I felt that if I didn't do this thing, the world might collapse. But the very moment I allowed myself to stop doing these unimportant things, I realized, okay, everything is still fine. The world still works. Which kind of means that I was wasting a lot of time over the years, but that's okay because I know now. So if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by an unlimited amount of things you think you have to do, start by making a list or a table and start crossing a bunch of stuff off. It will save you so much headache. So we're about half a year into this whole self-improvement journey thing, and Covey's book was pretty good. It gave me a lot of practical things I could take and apply to my life. But I still felt as if we were missing a few key important things, so I kept on searching because remember, the end goal was to be able to do the things I loved in a more sustainable way. It was around this period that I ran into Naval Ravikant's content. I first saw him on Joe Rogan, and the things he was saying in that podcast changed my life. There is an important part in the Almanac of Naval Ravikant that basically talks about this concept or idea called specific knowledge. And now, understanding this concept has allowed me to understand how pursuing what we are genuinely interested in is actually a good thing for our life. Because for a long period of time, I used to think that pursuing something like photography or art was kind of a useless hobby or passion, and it wouldn't really amount to much, it wouldn't make me much money, it wouldn't really help me in life. And after understanding this concept of specific knowledge, I realized that that's just wrong, and that actually pursuing the things we are genuinely interested in will actually be what gets us what we want in life, and it's what makes us unique, special, all that. So, specific knowledge is knowledge that is not obtained from the education system. It's knowledge that we gain from our own tinkering and our own experimentation, from going deep into the things we naturally like and enjoy. For example, in photography, I've acquired a sort of specific knowledge in the way that I use and operate cameras, how I color grade and edit photos, what I do with my print and the work and stuff in that aspect, that I would not have otherwise acquired if I had not gone out and learned and experimented and tinkered in the real world. This specific knowledge is what makes you irreplaceable, especially as an artist. It's why even if another artist tries to copy someone else's style and they have all the presets and everything, there's still going to be something missing, there's still going to be something different that they can't replicate. There is specific knowledge that is missing. Naval said, "Specific knowledge is found much more by pursuing your innate talents, your genuine curiosity, and your passion. No one can compete with you on being you." And so this idea of specific knowledge is what helped me get back into photography. I had so many qualms about the things I was making because they weren't what everyone else was doing. How I approach my art isn't very clinical, and it isn't what other photographers would recommend you do. But now I understand that it really doesn't matter. It truly is apples to oranges. And if you continue to improve your version of your thing, that's what will get you the best end result. And that's what will make you the most happy in life anyways. So if you're having trouble figuring out what you want to do in life, think back to the things that you were interested in. What was it that you enjoyed the most? What did you find yourself diving deeply into without any incentive from other people? Was there a rabbit hole that you went down that you pursued just because? That might be your area of specific knowledge and where you are meant to go. Next on the list of life-changing books was this book called Atomic Habits, and you've probably heard this one because it's everywhere, and I tried to stay away from this book for a very long time because it was so overly hyped. But after reading this book, I understand that it is hyped for a reason, because it's good. And so if I had to break it down, habits are all about two things: making it easy and making it difficult. For the good habits that you want to build, try to make it as easy as possible for you to do. For the bad habits that you want to get rid of, try to make it as hard or difficult for yourself to do. And so this is because our minds naturally want to do the easy things and generally doesn't want to do the hard or difficult things. Take, for example, if you want to get rid of your drinking habits. One trick you can try is to leave the can of beer far at the back end of the fridge. That way when you open up the fridge, you're less likely to say, "Oh, I might as well have a beer." This is because you might not even see the beer in the first place. You can take this a step further by not even having your beer in the fridge because there's nothing worse than a warm beer. You can dial this even further by not even buying beer in the first place, such that you'll have to go to the store to get it. And so I'm not saying this will cure your alcoholism, but it'll make things much harder for you to drink. Now, to build good habits, we would make things easier for us to do. For example, if you want to write more, just having your notebook open, having your Word doc open, or whatever, everything set up, ready to go at the beginning of the morning will make it that much easier for you to write. This is what James Clear calls priming your environment for future use. You'll find yourself saying things like, "Well, everything's already set up anyways, I might as well just write for 30 minutes and feel better about myself like I actually did something today." Or you could try leaving your sunblock next to your keys, so before you leave the house, you're more incentivized to put on sunblock because it's right there ready to go. So if we can take and apply these little things to different areas of our life, one by one, we can slowly improve the habits that we want to build and get rid of the habits that we don't want. These little things may seem small or meaningless, but they really do add up. James Clear wrote, "The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop." So in my case, I knew I wanted to release a bunch of photography prints. I knew I wanted to get back to making these YouTube videos, and I knew I wanted to build photo books and photo zines. So I tried to make things as easy as I possibly could. My laptop, my desk, everything is set up so that when I wake up, I just get right to work. I also try to make it hard for me to do the things that I know are bad for me. When I sleep, I put the phone on the far side of my desk so I can't reach and grab it at night or in the morning when I wake up. This prevents me from scrolling at night or in the morning. So if you're looking to build good habits and get rid of bad habits, just remember these two things. Make it easy, make it hard. So it's been about 8 to 9 months in my journey, and I'm already starting to feel like a new and improved person. I've built some good habits and got rid of some bad ones. I've also begun to accept myself more as an artist, regardless of what other people might think. But there's one more book that I want to mention that allowed me to put all these pieces of the puzzle together. This is where Essentialism by Greg McKeown comes in. Now, you may or may not have heard of essentialism, but you've probably heard of the term less is more. Less is more is a term or phrase I've heard so many times in my life, but I never fully understood it. I had always thought that doing more and harder work was the solution to all of my problems. But one of the things this book helped me realize is that most of what we do actually doesn't matter. To better understand this, Greg McKeown quotes John Maxwell here. You cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything. And that line just hits so hard for me. For example, we'll often see many musicians have 1 or 2 hit songs in their career. This doesn't mean that their other songs are bad, but it's really just 1 or 2 big, super popular songs that grant them all the fame, all the money in their lives. Now, this is not to say there's no point in doing anything. What it really means is just that in a world where most of what we do won't amount to anything, instead of trying to do everything, it's more important for us to figure out what's important to do in the first place. This way, we can save tons of time, stress, energy, and money by only focusing on the essentials. And what's important to understand is that it becomes our choice. We decide, we determine what's essential for us. And if we spend time doing what we deem as essential, there will be no wasted time. For me, I deem something as essential if I enjoy making it and I want to make it. This may mean making a video that no one cares about, or putting prints up for sale that no one buys. Even this upcoming photo zine that I'm working on is something that I just want to make for myself. I'm releasing it to the public as well, but I don't expect anyone to buy it really, because it's something that I would have just made for myself anyways. And it's something that decreases the stakes for me mentally, because I know that it's what I deem as essential. And my life as a whole has become just better this way. I'm doing more of what I like and less of the things that I don't like. If you want to apply this to your life, first figure out what's essential for you. What do you enjoy doing the most? And what do you want to do more of? This could be anything from art, photography, creativity, to just riding bikes or skateboarding or whatever. First, remember what Naval Ravikant said about specific knowledge. What you're uniquely good at is usually also something you're uniquely interested in. Then you can apply Stephen Covey's prioritization framework and also James Clear's habit forming stuff. If you do this over and over again, you'll start to figure out what's essential for your life. So as you can tell, this last year was a lot for me, and I'm glad to say that I've come a long way and feel very strongly about how I'm going into the future. I'm back to making these YouTube videos, and my connection with photography is better than ever. Of course, my self-improvement journey doesn't end here. There will always be new obstacles and new challenges for me to face. And it's often I find myself rereading some of these books to figure out and remind myself the lessons that I've learned. Which, I'm cool with that. I'm fine, it's fun, it's enjoyable. But don't just take my word for it. Give the books a try and apply the knowledge that I've shared with you in your life, see if it works. Self-improvement might suck in the short term, but it really is worth it in the long run. Also, if you're interested, I'm currently giving away 4x6 prints. You can find the link in the bio below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Peace.